If you really want to know the whole story,
I love the story.
I love telling it. So,
Oh, yes, please do.
so when I always wanted to be on like TV. Like I
Mhm.
wanted to be on like Good Morning America, ABC 7, that kind of thing. Like I grew up with my grandma watching me throughout the days when my parents were at work. So I have my arms tatted. I have a radio mic and I have a baking whisk because those are my two passions, and that's what I do. I bake and I do radio. But when I was a kid, my grandma would bake with me. And then afterwards, we'd watch like Oprah and Eyewitness News. And in the morning would be Good Morning America. So WPLJ in New York, the radio station with Scott and Todd in the morning, right? They would always go around our area and they would like do like the promotional like events and stuff like that, right? And then ABC used to do a baseball game versus PLJ back in the summers at Jackal Stadium in like Little Falls, New Jersey. And so I would always go there every summer with like my mom or my dad, and like I would meet them and I'm like, I want to be on TV. I want to be on radio. And they're like, well, when you get in college, make sure you're an intern, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, that's so far away because I'm like 7.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? But fast forward like 10 or so years or more, I finally went to college and everything. And like, I was literally at a fork in the road. And sorry if I'm going deep into this.
I know. I love it. Please
ready.
do.
Okay.
I love it.
So I was literally at a fork in the road, right?
Mhm.
Like there was a sidewalk where it like split, and I can go with my friends, which I would be comfortable with, and go towards wherever they're majoring in, or I can go to the radio and communications department, which I knew no one in. Obviously, I have to do it and I have to just like suck it up and go alone because I'm not going to go to like science.
Oh, God, yeah.
God forbid.
Right.
And then so like I went that way, and then like I met the people at the radio station, and then so one kid, he wound up DMing me and he's like, oh, you should join the radio station here. And I'm like, oh, I didn't really think of radio, even though
At the college, the radio station at the college?
Yeah,
Oh,
the radio
okay.
station at William Patterson University, WP 88.7 FM, Brave New Radio. But I went over there and I was like, I never really thought of radio, but like when I was a kid with my grandma, she would always have the speakers in the house, like the big boom boxes and everything, playing CD 101.9 smooth jazz.
Oh, I love it.
And anyway, so I went to the radio station. I thought it was really cool. Then I wound up going, I was on my first show, and this guy walks in and I'm like, you look really familiar. And he's like, no, you don't know me. He's like, I work at a radio station, you don't know me. I'm like, no, I think I do. And he's like, well, look it up. And so he goes, look up PLJ. And he's the executive producer of the Scott and Tom morning show or whatever at the time, Monk. And I was like, oh my God, I know you. I met you all the time at the Jackals games. And he's like, you did? And I'm like, what? And I'm like, yeah. So I was like, oh, I would love to like talk to you more. And so like one thing led to another, and I wound up going in for an interview for an internship over there. And he was like, I was showing him all these pictures and I told him about all the stories about meeting them in the past. He's like, get out. That is so crazy.
Yeah.
So then that's how it all started. It's like he came in, it just so happened to come into my radio show one day. And then like, that's where it started. And then I totally forgot about TV. Like I did it in college. Like I was the president of the TV network there at Willie P and things like that. But like, I just stuck with radio for the 4 years mainly. And then from there, I went to CBS FM, and then I went to, I stayed there, and then I went to 1010 Wins. And then from there, I moved to LA, and then I came back. And so long story short, I guess I always said that like I've been networking since I was a child, because technically I have been. And I'm going to tell you with that. Yeah. Like, I mean, like, look at us, here we are talking right now. And like, granted, we met on like Instagram kind of, what I mean? But we met in person on, morning show boot camp. I was so nervous getting like my tattoos because I like, like work, what are they going to think? And so I always said that like my alien tattoo on my ankle got me the job at Kiss FM. Ooh. Because the way I got my job at Kiss FM, I was living in LA in the summer for like a little bit. And I worked with an internship program to do their video production and like film the students doing their adventures throughout the summer. Like it was the best job I had at the time, where I was like just filming, and I was just like recording everyone having fun and experiencing their lives, and then cutting it up and sending it out to them so that their parents can see it wherever they lived. And like everyone was just happy, and just, it was good vibes all around.
Yeah.
And so I went back home, and like, I remember I was in New York with my dad, and I looked at the ball, like, because the New Year's Eve ball was in Times Square all the time now. And I was like, I want to go to LA. I want to work at Kiss FM. And he's like, oh, okay, Dana. Like, I'm the only child. So like, I give him like a heart attack all the time. Like, he's got the gray hair because I'm like stressing him out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to do it, Dad. And he's like, go ahead. I'll support you. But, and like, so I went out there. Like, I had a few radio friends, in New York that put me in contact with some people like iHeart in LA, just to say hi, check out the studios or whatever. And I went into the iHeart studios, and I was like, yeah, I'm the girl in New York that applied. And my boss was like, you're the one in New York that applied to this job? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, why'd you come all the way out here? I was like, I don't know, I wanted to try it. And she's like, are you moving out here? And I was like, yeah, in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, you are? I was lying. And I was like, yeah, no, I am. And I was like, yep. And I had no plan to move. I was like, I'm not moving until I know I got a job.
Yeah.
But I lied, and I said that I was.
Good on you.
Everyone knows I'm a liar now, but hey, you got to do what you got to do.
You got to do what you got to do.
And then so like, she's like, all right, we'll come back at like 3 and we'll meet. And like, I was like, all right, cool. So I met up with JoJo then. We were all in the like office or whatever. And I've had flats on, and I have an alien tattoo on like my ankle. Right.
Oh, are they? Yep. I love it.
And he was wearing long sleeves at the time. And he's like, is that an alien tattoo? He's sitting next to me. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, it's just the first tattoo. I just got it in December. I don't know. Sorry,
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my God, it's so cool. He pulls up his sleeve and he shows his tattoo sleeve, and it's like X-Files, UFO, like Michael Jackson, like all like different things, like monsters or what, I don't know, everything,
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh, you like aliens too? And then my future boss, she was like, oh, here we go. And then we just hit it off. And then so I was like, all right, well, nice to meet you. And then I flew back home like the next day, and I sent a follow-up email being like, hey, thank you so much for your time, blah, blah, blah. And I remember asking my friends, I was like, should I sign it with an alien emoji? And they're like, Dana, don't do it. That's not professional.
You're like,
I'm like, I think I'm going to do it. And they're like, don't do it, Dana, don't. And then I'm like, I'm doing it. So it's like the TikTok, like, I'm not going to do it. I was just thinking about it. I'm not going to do it. And they're like, I did it. So I want to.
That's how you stand out.
Yeah. I mean, what the heck? Look, I got an alien tattoo on my foot. We were talking about aliens and tattoos. Like, if you don't want me, don't want me. But then I got a call within like the week saying like, hey, can you be out here by like February 27th? And I'm at 1010 Wins at the time, like in the studio. And I'm like, so like 2 weeks, not even. And I was like, yeah, no, I'll be there. And I hang up. I'm like, oh my God, I got this job. I don't know what I'm going to do, And like, so it was crazy. But I went on Facebook, and I went on to like LA housing. And this girl in New York was also looking to move to LA at the same time. We just became friends. So we went and got coffee in New York before she moved. She found our apartment. I moved in with her. I packed my back of my car and I shipped it across the country, and I flew myself out there. That's and it amazing. Was all within 2 weeks. And it was crazy. But like, I also knew going into that I was getting a major pay cut from what I was making in New York.
Okay.
And then I also knew I was paying rent, which was like $1,000 a month, because like I was obviously splitting the rent and everything.
Yeah.
But I did it anyway, because I was like, I want to try it and I want to do it and like, and see how this works out. And so like, no regrets.
How long were you there for?
Like 3 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, it worked out, but I mean, like at a point, like I was like, okay, I need to do something again. Like, and thankfully right before I moved back home, again, I was saying I was moving to New York, and I had really no plan at the time, but I met someone at Talk Show Boot Camp, who like, we kept in touch with, and then one thing led to another, connections, and then I got an interview at ABC and got the
That's
job.
amazing.
Half of my jobs are from like either talk show boot camp, morning show boot camp, or because of like the random events that I went to where there were radio people and I just met them. And then from there, we kept in touch. So it's like, it's really important to go to these things.
Yeah, it's totally.
Everything that I always hear, like every year, it's why are you in radio? Radio's dying. Don't stay in radio. Find another job, or like, like to each their own, and it's not all negative. Some people are like, yeah, stay in radio. I'm not going to say it's all negative. I do hear a lot of things where it's like, be careful, because who knows what radio is going to be in 20 years. You know what I mean? But like, as long as I have this tattoo on my skin and I'm still alive, radio will be alive. It might change. It's going to change. Anything changes. But like, that's why I think it's important to have like millennials or younger people on these panels, so that the people that are older that think radio's dying can have that hope and then be like, oh, wait a second, like these young kids or these young people or whatever are passionate about radio. Maybe if we listen to them about their ideas, maybe like the fact that they are on Twitch or they do a lot on Instagram or something, things that we don't do, like maybe if we listen to them, radio will stay alive.
Exactly.
And I mean, like, honestly, like I remember working at a few different stations, like 2014, 2015, like around that area, like 2013 to 2016, maybe 2017. And I would tell them, like, you got to get on like Instagram, you got to get on like Facebook Live, you have to do this, you have to do that. And they looked at me like I had like 3 heads. And they're like, no, we're not. We're this kind of station. We're not going to do that. And I'm like, trust me, like, let me try. But granted, I remember the times that I would try to be on their Facebook Lives or I'd try to do stuff, like everything was crashing. Nothing would work properly. We didn't have the right equipment. So, I mean, it was hard too. Like, you think like 2015 wasn't too long ago, but like in the ways of like technology and like how far we've come from there,
it's
like
right.
It was a different time back then still. Like
it really was.
But this is one thing I will say about radio calls, like, or Zoom calls and stuff. Like everyone was like, oh, how did you transition from working in the office to working from home or this and that? Did you find it was a positive or negative? I'm like, well, it's a negative because I'm a very social person. So every day I would knock on my boss's doors and my coworkers' doors in their offices being like, hey, what's up? You need anything? You need any help? And I can't do that now. I got to send a weird email being like, so how you doing? And they're like, what?
Yeah.
But like the benefits of having Zoom and working from home and everything is that, like, for instance, someone like me, like now that I work at ABC, like ABC is awesome in the sense that like they're very supportive. They give me all the opportunities. If I ask them, they're like, yeah, go for it. You got this. Like, it doesn't matter if I'm a producer or if I'm someone higher or lower. Like, if I want to do something, they're open to letting me do it and then going from there,
Yeah.
But like, I can reach out to whoever and be like, let me do an interview with you or something. And they can't turn you down. I mean, they still will, but like, it's harder because it's not like you have to meet them for coffee, or it's not like you have to like, meet them in a studio and do an interview for an hour. It's like, look, give me 5-10 minutes on Zoom. We're good. Like, how are you going to say no to that? You know what I mean? So a lot of people, a lot more things are more accessible, which is really good in that sense. So like, I took that to my benefit when the pandemic happened, and I was just interviewing like crazy because I was like, why not?
So you were asking like to interview the person that you were talking to, or asking if they would interview you?
No, like to interview them. So like, if there was a story or if there was news that just came out about something,
okay.
I was just like, let me interview them. Like,
okay. Oh, gotcha.
Even still, like if I wanted to meet up with like a coworker or maybe someone that was like higher up that I don't think would have been like open to meeting for coffee back in the day, you know what I mean? Which I really never had that problem, but say if that were the case.
Yeah.
Now I can be like, hey, do you want to talk on Zoom for a few minutes? And it's great because it's like, they're like, no, yeah, I guess so. But the thing with ABC now is like a lot of people, or like certain bosses or whatever, they'll do these things where like they'll mix and match you with random like people in the company to talk to for
Cool.
a half hour. And so it's like later this week, I'm talking to someone in California. So it's like I'm learning about people of all different, positions and walks of life in the Disney and ABC company, and talking to them one-on-one like this.
Yeah.
That I never would have had before. Like, it was funny because my boyfriend, like I met him in the beginning of the pandemic last year. And I was like so hyped about morning show boot camp this year because last year obviously was like online.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait. And he literally told me he's like, thank God this is happening because literally since the day I met you, you have been talking about morning show boot camp. Like it's like some crazy thing, because I always said, I was like, morning show boot camp in Chicago in 2019 was like my favorite vacation
love it
ever. Like I went to Vegas like 3 or 4 times in my life. And this Chicago trip was more fun than any Vegas trip, any LA trip, any vacation. And like, this is like a networking / job, like
I was gonna say, well, what made it feel that way? Because you just made such great connections, or because it was radio, like all of that?
Yeah. I mean, like it was a new city because I never went to Chicago. Swiss Hotel was really cool. Like the hotel that we stayed at.
Yeah.
Like just everyone that was there, especially that year, like, it was all my old coworkers from LA, New York, and like everyone else that I knew, like scattered around the US, came to that one because obviously the world was still open.
Yeah.
And it was so great. And then I remember, sitting down with like Don and a few other people, like Rick Rumble, and oh God, I couldn't even tell you who else, but like we all sat down for dinner and just drinking wine and just talking about radio. And they're like, tell me about some of your radio stories. And I just went off the deep end.
Yeah. Like, don't mind if I do.
Yeah. And they're just there and they're like, wait, like, how do you know this person? Or like, you and Mickey Dolenz, what? Like, you know what I mean? I was just like they didn't think that I like knew these things, or like, I like what dates me now is saying that I worked with Scott and Todd in the morning, because it's no longer there. And like, it shows a moment in time that's no longer there. You're like, oh wait, she works for Scott and Todd. So okay. Like that's some time, but yes, but like, I don't know, like, it was just like so fun because I just remember like going back to my hotel room and I was just like, man, like I just released all the radio history that I had pent up for 10 years. Like finally, like, I don't know, but everyone has their own path. And like the way that you think you're going to go is probably not the way you will go. And like reading, for instance, Carol Miller's book, or like Bobby Bones, he's hysterical. Like for TV, Good Morning America, Ginger Z, like natural disaster book, had me like in tears at times, because it was just it hit so close to home for me, for instance, because even with me going to ABC, like that whole transition for her in the same way, like it's just crazy. But it's like, I don't know, like it's just cool to hear everyone's story. A lot of radio people, a lot of radio hosts that I've met, and like people that are like big time, they're like, yeah, I'm actually really shy and I get really nervous. But it's just like, you're behind a mic, so people don't see you all the time. But now it's like kind of like you're on screen too sometimes. But a lot of people get like stage fright still, which is crazy, because you think, oh, they sound confident and fine. Like I'm super shy, but like the only time I light up is when I'm like on radio, or like when I'm at these conferences.
I was gonna say shy.
Yeah, no, for real. I don't know. I'm just like, I'm trying to get out of that shell though, like, with everything else. But I don't know. I love that what you do, like with the radio fam thing. Like when I found your Instagram, like I guess it was probably in the beginning of the pandemic that I found.
I think so. Yeah.
Something. I was just looking up radio people, and I found that, but like I was just like, this is awesome. This is exactly what I wanted. Really are the only like radio platform that I see like that out there that like really like is interactive with everyone in radio, you know? It's awesome.
Trying to build our little network.
I love it. I love it so much.
I love the the artistic side, that you have, and then the actual like radio nerd side of like collecting some of your like the old stuff, because not like a lot of people do that. So I was like, oh my God, like we're both like young females that collect old radio stuff.
That's what I'm like, when I saw that part of you, like that side of you, I was like, wait a second, there's another me out in that world.
Yeah,
like,
that's how I felt. Yeah, because it's always like older people and stuff. So what got you
there's
into
nothing wrong with that, but someone's got to keep it going. So
what got you into that stuff, and what's kind of your because I see it's funny, it's like we all collect the old stuff, but it's like we kind of have like our own like taste. So like what do you kind of look for? And
whatever's available on eBay.
I love eBay is the best, right?
It's so funny because like I remember as a kid, my dad would always be on eBay and selling things on eBay, and I was like, that's like such an old person thing. And then like now here I am, like people are like, Dana, you're always on your phone. I'm like, I'm on eBay, I'm bidding, okay? Like there was a t-shirt, and I'll pull it out right now. I'll go and get it.
Yep. Oh, we gotta show it to the camera.
Yeah, KLOS 95.5 t-shirt from Sammy Hagar. Here we go.
That's right. That's such a cool graphic,
right?
I love that.
It's an old school 95.5 like emblem on the brick wall and everything, trying to describe it for the audio purposes. Yeah. And then it just has the Sammy Hagar wording in the back with quarter flash, Los Angeles Memorial Sports Arena, 1982. And this shirt was on eBay, and I thought it looked so cool. So the bidding war that I had with someone, this thing was like $10, right? Yeah. And then so like a few days go by, goes up to 25, 26. Okay, we're bidding back and forth. The last 5 minutes, this was going up $30, $40, 45, 50. I'm like, I'm winning this. The last second, I'm not even kidding, the last 2 seconds, I forgot it was like 54 or something. And then I bid in the last 2 seconds. I'm like, I'm going to wait. And I just threw it in. I was like 57, I think, or something like that, or 60. And then I won. And I was like, oh my God, thank God. But I was like around everyone. Like I was like at a family thing, and everyone's like, they know what is going on. I'm like, I need to win this shirt.
It totally becomes about that. There's some times where I'm like, my budget for that item is just this. But then somebody starts, bidding with me at the end, and I'm like, I gotta win it now. Okay, I'll spend a little more.
Yeah, literally. I mean, most of it's buy now.
I love that.
A few bids, but like most of the stuff that I have, like I have a radio wall. My radio wall are a bunch of collections of different like pictures and posters that I have either from like previous jobs or coworkers or whatever I found on eBay. Like I worked at Jingle Ball at Kiss FM in LA, and I asked them, I was like, are you guys getting rid of that? Like, like sign? And
I love that.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, I'm taking that. Like I found a picture of like Atwater Kent radio poster at an old job that they weren't going to use. Then like my friend, like this is a coworker's gift. It was a folder, ABC is radio, and it's a hot pink folder, but I just framed it because it looked cool.
It does. I like how you frame it. I need to frame a bunch of mines like that.
Yeah. So it's really neat. And then like I have like a little crate on the bottom over here where I just like hook things on. And most of them are either bumper stickers or matchbooks from like the 60s or 70s. There's like a 1970s K&X 1070 matchbook that if you open it up, it has the whole map of LA in it, which is dangerous because it's paper in a matchbook. But but it's really cool. And it's like, I don't know, like there's magazine cutouts and stuff from 1010 Wins and Johnny Carson ads and old KFI picture from the old studio. Like, I don't know. I have a 1950s Shure mic too that I bought. I just need to get the wire, and I really want to do like oldies shows with that.
Ooh, that would be fun.
So you collect stuff too, right?
I do.
So like what's the type of stuff that you collect?
I like stuff that's more, I brought it, I funny, when you were saying matchbook, I thought I brought one over here, but I guess not. But I like stuff since I'm like in promotions and like marketing. I like things that are like advertisements. So this is like a list of like old stations that are on here, but it was like it was like part of this like beauty ad calendar thing.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
like I like stuff like that, or you'll like this one a lot. Like,
Did you have like an old book or something?
I've got a few of those. Yep, they're kind of all over. But this one's cool because this one's in New York, like dial mug, like
What in the
mug
world?
thing.
Okay, so
Isn't
where
that
do you find this stuff?
This was an eBay one, and I'm actually
Really?
mad because when I bought it, it was like before I was like doing my store and everything, and there was somebody selling like a case of them, but I was like, I don't need a case. I was like, I just want one. So I bought the one. I'm sure they come up, but I'm bummed that I didn't get the case because a lot of it I like finding this stuff too and having it available for other people like us that are like, oh, cool, and collect these things. And this is the last one I brought over. I was like, I brought a couple things over, and this one's cool because it's like somebody had made this one, like a pottery.
Oh, that's cool. 88.7.
And so I was able to like reach out to her and ask like about this. And I think she just said she just made a few for this. I don't remember if they were just giveaways or what, but I love that it was like, an actual like art piece kind of thing.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome.
And how it's like the little Nevada thing.
Yeah, that's so cool.
So I love that kind of stuff.